In the quiet suburbs of Austin, Texas, a loving husband comes home from work to find his wife brutally beaten to death in their bed, while their 3-year-old son watches in horror. But the real nightmare begins when he's arrested, convicted, and locked away for life, all based on shaky evidence and hidden truths. For nearly 25 years, Michael Morton rots in prison, insisting he's innocent, until DNA uncovers a shocking twist. The true killer was a stranger, and the prosecutor allegedly withheld evidence that could have set him free from day one. Welcome to the True Crime Report Cold Cases, where we dive into America's most chilling unsolved and wrongfully resolved mysteries. Stick around to learn how one man's fight for justice exposed a broken system, led to a landmark law, and brought down a powerful prosecutor. You'll walk away questioning how many innocents are still behind bars, and what it takes to prove the truth. Our story begins on August 13, 1986, in Williamson County, Texas. Michael Morton, a 32-year-old grocery store worker, kisses his wife Christine goodbye and heads to his early morning shift. Christine, a devoted mother, stays home with their young son Eric, who had just undergone successful open-heart surgery weeks earlier. But that ordinary day shatters into tragedy. When Michael returns home that afternoon, he discovers Christine's body in their bedroom, beaten to death with a blunt object. Eric, only 3 years old, is unharmed but present in the home. The scene is horrific. Blood-soaked sheets, signs of a violent struggle. Police arrive and the investigation kicks off. But from the start, questions swirl. Was this a random intruder or something more personal? Michael, devastated and cooperative, speaks openly with investigators. He has no criminal record, no history of violence. The couple had celebrated his birthday the night before. Nothing seemed amiss. Yet suspicion quickly turns toward him. Prosecutors build a case around circumstantial evidence. A note Michael left for Christine that morning, expressing mild frustration over her turning down intimacy the previous night due to fatigue from their son's recovery. They twist it into motive, suggesting rage. They also rely on a now-debunked forensic claim that Christine's time of death could be pinpointed solely by her stomach contents, placing the murder after Michael left for work. But hold on, was that science solid? We'll circle back to that bombshell later. On September 25, 1986, just 6 weeks after Christine's death, Michael is arrested and charged with murder. His trial begins in February 1987 in Williamson County Court. The prosecution, led by District Attorney Ken Anderson, paints Michael as a jealous, angry husband. No murder weapon is found, no fingerprints tie him directly to the scene. Defense argues an intruder did it, pointing to a bloody bandana found nearby, unidentified fingerprints in the home, and a footprint in the backyard. Neighbors even reported seeing a suspicious green van parked behind the house around the time of the crime. But the jury buys the prosecution's narrative. Michael is convicted and sentenced to life in prison. He maintains his innocence, but the system has spoken. Or has it? As Michael begins his sentence, first in Williamson County Jail, then shuffled through Texas prisons like Huntsville's diagnostic and WIN units, he clings to hope. He pursues education behind bars, earning a bachelor's in psychology and a master's in literature. But unknown to him and his defense team at trial, critical evidence was reportedly withheld. According to later court findings, lead investigator Sergeant Don Wood had notes from an interview with Michael's mother-in-law, Rita Kirkpatrick. In it, young Eric allegedly described seeing a monster, not his father, beat his mother. Eric reportedly said the man was big, had a mustache, and that daddy wasn't home. This child's eyewitness account could have shattered the prosecution's case. There were also reports of Christine's stolen purse and fraudulent use of her credit card and checkbook days after the murder, suggesting a burglar, not a domestic dispute. Why wasn't this shared? That's the central conflict driving this story. Allegations of prosecutorial misconduct. Under Texas law, prosecutors must disclose exculpatory evidence, anything that might help the defense. But court records later showed Anderson allegedly chose not to, creating what one judge called an uneven playing field. Michael spends years appealing, but without this hidden info, his efforts fail. He even turns down parole in 2010, refusing to express remorse for a crime he didn't commit. As his lawyer John Raley recalls, Michael said, "All I have left is my actual innocence." It's a gut-wrenching stand. Would you hold out after 23 years? Enter the turning point: post-trial investigations by pro bono attorneys like Rayleigh and Nina Morrison from the Innocence Project. In 2005, they file for DNA testing on that bloody bandana from the crime scene, which had Christine's hair and blood on it. DNA tech wasn't available in 1987, but now it could prove everything. Yet Williamson County DA John Bradley, Anderson's successor, fights it tooth and nail for 6 years. Why the resistance? Speculation abounds. Protecting the original conviction, perhaps? Finally, in June 2011, a judge orders the tests. The results? Explosive. No DNA from Michael. Instead, it matches Mark Alan Norwood, a dishwasher from nearby Bastrop with a history of burglaries. Norwood's DNA links not just to Christine's murder but to another similar killing in 1988. Deborah Masters Baker, beaten in her Austin bed while her child was home. This is the story's most dramatic moment, the shocking reveal that flips everything. On October 4, 2011, after nearly 25 years, Michael walks free. He's the 45th Texan exonerated by DNA. Formally acquitted in December, he receives compensation, nearly $2 million lump sum by 2013, plus an annuity. But freedom comes with scars. Eric, adopted by relatives, had believed his father guilty and cut contact at 15. They slowly reconnect, rebuilding a shattered bond. Now justice turns on the real perpetrator. Norwood is arrested, convicted in 2013 for Christine's murder, and gets life. In 2016, he's nailed for Baker's killing too. Patterns emerge. Both women beaten in bed, homes burglarized. Classic intruder crimes. But the saga doesn't end there. Michael's team demands accountability for Anderson. In 2011, Anderson apologizes publicly, calling it a systems failure. But victims' families, like Baker's daughter, aren't buying it. She holds him partially responsible for letting Norwood roam free. A court of inquiry, a rare Texas procedure, investigates in 2013. Findings: Anderson intentionally hid evidence, violating a judge's order. He's arrested for contempt, resigns as judge, and in a plea deal serves 5 days in jail with good behavior credit, pays a $500 fine, does 500 hours of community service, and surrenders his law license for 5 years. No tampering charges due to statutes of limitation. Meanwhile, D. Bradley agrees to review all his old cases. The ripple effects? Monumental. In May 2013, Governor Rick Perry signs the Michael Morton Act, mandating open file discovery to prevent hidden evidence. It goes into effect that September, potentially saving countless innocents. Today, Michael lives quietly in Kilgore, Texas, remarried to Cynthia Mae Chessman. He's rebuilt, but the case raises haunting questions. How many wrongful convictions hide in plain sight? Was Anderson's actions isolated or systemic? And what if DNA hadn't existed? What do you think? Could more evidence have been overlooked? Comment below with your theories on this or other wrongful convictions. If this gripped you, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more deep dives into America's darkest cases. For more true crime tales that expose the flaws in justice, check out my playlist on other true crimes in America, like the chilling West Memphis 3 saga or the Central Park 5 exonerations. Thanks for watching. Stay curious, stay vigilant.